Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It's Sunday once more, which means it's time for another episode of The Captain's Table. Season 3, Episode 2. It's been 1 week since I became a community contributor in World of Warships, and not a lot has really changed, with the exception that Matchmaker has decided that now that I have community contributor status, I don't need to have good teams. It's either that, or it's because all of the spuds are out of school. And yes, that's what I'm going to call the young children, because they are potatoes, but they are not fully matured potatoes. The big things that have happened to me in the last week are all actually work-related. And it's been a very busy week at work, to say the least. To start off with, this week we were in scramble mode because on Thursday we had a big vice president for the corporate ownership of the building coming in to inspect some building changes that were being made and basically to approve them, as well as to approve some additional work that needed to be done but is otherwise very, very pricey. Anytime one of these VPs, regionals, or whatever for our company or for the ownership of the building decides they're going to come and visit, we effectively have to drop everything we're doing and focus on the building, on the common areas of the building, pretty much on everything. And this can lead to some frustration on our end and some miscommunications with our office people. Now, the beginning of the week, Tuesday, everything was going reasonably okay. Nothing major was in play. We knew what needed to be done. We had a plan of action to get it done, which is even better. We also knew what time this VP was going to show up on Thursday morning, and it was a bit earlier than we would like to have had her arrive. We also knew what units were going to need to be turned, and were planning to take care of those in between things like pressure washing, grounds, light bulb replacement, and so on. On Wednesday, however, is where things start to kind of get all screwy with us. Wednesday morning, at about 10:30, I had a text message from my supervisor telling me I've just been volunteered for something known as a due diligence at a property located in North Bend. Now, North Bend from Seattle is about 32 miles. And when talking about traffic on I-90, we're talking anywhere from 40 to 140 minutes to get there and to come back. So the fact that I had just been voluntold at 10:30 in the morning that, hey, you're going to go do this, kind of threw me off. And when I got to the manager, she wanted to know if I was ready to leave, to which I didn't have much of an answer other than, all I know is Frank said come talk to you. Explanations were had, and because I'm the only maintenance tech with a car currently, I was the one that got pulled because Supervisor Frank, he can't go. He's got things to do. Being this Wednesday, and the fact that he was going to be gone in the morning on Thursday when this VP was supposed to come visit, and the fact that at 9 a.m. we got hit with a surprise unit turn requirement. The unit turn was basically a one-day turnaround for us in order to get the cleaners and carpet cleaners in for a move-in that was happening on Friday. The result of that meant that we were going to try and get in there and turn it rapidly with at least two of us. Then I got reassigned to another property 40 minutes away for what was effectively the rest of the day. Now, my company paid me to drive out to the property, and they're going to pay me mileage on top of driving out to the property and back. The issue I had was not that I got to spend effectively 2 hours in my car during my workday. The problem that I had was that when I arrived at the property location, they basically didn't have anything for me to do. I ended up tagging along with that location's supervisor and ultimately clocked out for lunch and then spent an hour and a half afterwards helping him finish up a unit turn. That was it. And realistically, he probably didn't need me at all to help him finish that unit turn because that unit was already in such good condition. Still though, it was an experience, and because the regional VP asked for people to be pulled from various properties, and my name was the one that was given as somebody who would come and take care of it, it's going to look good for me in the long run with other property managers, as well as with the company. Thursday morning rolled around though, arrived at work 30 minutes early in order to start knocking stuff out, because this VP was going to be in at 8. And we figured that she was going to be a bit of a stickler and be on the lookout for a lot of different things. The issue on Thursday, though, that really ended up throwing just a major wrench into our day was the fact that after sweeping up the grounds, I went into our maintenance shop and I went looking for our leaf blower to blow the debris and dust that's accumulated into the street. Well, I found the blower, but the battery, which was sitting on its charger, was not where it normally is. And I noted that was kind of odd. So I asked, of course, my coworker if he had moved it. And then I sent a text message to my supervisor. Neither of them had. Then that made me connect the dots that my tool bag looks like it had been rifled through and some of the items had ended up on the floor. Additionally, I realized that my supervisor's cart, where he keeps all of his tools in a very large, very nice tool bag, was missing the tool bag. That was at 7:50 in the morning. And that revelation to my supervisor and my manager right before this VP visit prompted some serious stress. Fortunately, the VP said everything looked good, and of course she only stayed for like 20 minutes anyway, which is also annoying. We did all of that work for a 20-minute walkthrough. But following, we now had to go in and we had to start focusing on where these tools had gone. The good news is the property does have cameras in a couple of very key locations, and we do have a fob tracking system, so we were able very quickly to figure out which fob it was that was being used and pull up the cameras respective to where that was being used. And not only did we get a pretty decent image of the 2-3 people involved in the theft, but we caught them in the act. And we also caught their car license plate because they parked it in our garage. Oddly enough, though, the thieves in question were only interested in stealing DeWalt tools, because my tool bag had a very nice, very brand new Black & Decker drill, but they didn't take it. They didn't take my Ryobi drill either. They just took my supervisor's DeWalt drills and bits, and the battery for the blower because that was also a DeWalt. I'm not entirely sure why they would only pick DeWalt and not Black & Decker. Since they were there, they could have just taken it all and gotten, I don't know, 20 bucks or something out of it anyway. But at the end of the day, I feel really bad for my supervisor who had all of his tools stolen. Especially because now he's going to have to pay to replace them. More than likely, the property will pay to replace some of them. But it's going to fall onto him to replace them all, and that's a good $500-600 worth of tools. And then what the property will replace is about $400 or $500 worth of tools that were more property oriented, and I think we had specific serial numbers for those. Funnily enough, when we had the police over to review the camera, she got the license plate off of our footage, ran the plate, got a registration and a name. So if that car is still in that guy's possession, he's going to have a very awkward meeting from county. But what was funnier still was that while we were there in the office, one of the, well, we'll say more problem children that we have running around came in to talk with us. And the officer immediately turned on her body cam and changed her posture. Apparently, the officer had arrested this woman not a week prior for drunk and disorderly. The woman in question, though, she had no recollection of that arrest. None whatsoever. Then again, she also seemed pretty out of it when she came to talk to us. Which would probably explain why she came to talk to us, considering she's not technically a resident at the property. She lives there in a unit, but she's not on a lease. And that's a no-no. We can't have that. So, following all the drama on Wednesday and Thursday, Friday was at least reasonably calm. Just my supervisor and I as our third. His weekend is going on. So we were able to get in there, and we were actually able to get stuff done, which was good. We got a few more turns done. We got our new plexiglass in place, this plexiglass that we have to unfortunately cut ourselves so that we can install AC units in these crank window units. But then I realized that they were setting up for Pride next door to us, effectively blocking off our street and the street that our garage entrance is on. Now, we can exit. That's not necessarily a problem. The garage exits are open for vehicles. But it does make commuting out and commuting in the morning a little bit difficult, since the streets are blocked off. It also means there are going to be a lot of drunk people walking around, throwing trash wherever they please. And sure enough, on Saturday morning, that was absolutely the case. Lots of trash that needed to be picked up. Got that underway, and then I had to deal with an AC install. Now, this AC install was by appointment, where I was going to go meet the individual, determine what window he wanted the AC in, and then go down and cut the plexiglass and get everything taken care of. Unfortunately, when I knocked on his door at his requested time, he did not answer. And then I came back 10 minutes later, and he still did not answer. No worries, I'll go and I'll just do the other stuff that needs to be done on the property. My Saturday routine is generally pretty full of a predetermined schedule. Well, when I came back at 11 o'clock after determining that we did have permission to enter, I had the key, knocked on his door, no answer yet again, unlocked his door, walked in, got into the living room, and then this guy popped his head out. He had been home the whole time. He had just not, I don't know, been paying attention. So we determined what window he wanted his AC in. Took the measurements I needed to, got the AC unit, took the measurements for the hoses that I needed to, and went down and cut a piece of plexiglass for the window. Now, the window that he wanted it in was what's known as a quarter panel. Basically, it's a smaller horizontal crank window instead of a vertical crank window. Got everything set up there, and then had another AC install that I had to go take care of almost immediately afterwards. At this point, because of the delay with this particular AC install, I had not yet clocked out for lunch. I did eat my lunch, which is just a small sandwich, but I hadn't clocked out for it, and I was getting kind of cranky. So I was going to go up, I was going to take care of this AC install real quick. Already had the plexiglass cut that I needed. All I had to do was cut the hole in it, and that would be the end of that. I got up there, I take care of it, nice and quick, ready to go. And then the original guy comes back and says that his AC unit is constantly tripping his breaker because it's plugged in where his TV and Xbox and Wi-Fi router and laptop are all plugged in. He doesn't want to use an extension cord, doesn't have one himself, doesn't want to go get one. Which ultimately forces me to have to go down, cut a whole new piece of plexiglass for the other window, the other type of window, get it up there and installed, move the AC unit, pull the old stuff out, and everything. At this point, it's now after 2:30. My day technically ends at 4, and that's with an hour for lunch. I hadn't taken a lunch yet. I got it all taken care of, pretty much ending my day at 3:30, with nearly an hour of overtime because I didn't take a lunch. The good news is my manager was very understanding on that factor, so I'm not going to get in trouble for not taking it because everything just piled up on me all at the same time. Looking forward to next week. Not much going on, not much planned. The summer is here, but the weather is still relatively cool, which is wonderful. And hopefully I'll end up with some better teams in World of Warships. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode of the Captain's Table. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. What's going on in your guys' life? And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.